Hello everyone, it's Dawn and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to our subscribers, both long-term and our newcomers. Lovely to have you with us. And welcome to anyone who's drifting by and perhaps watching this channel for the first time. If you've enjoyed this video by the end of it, I'd really love it if you give me a thumbs up. And if you're not already a subscriber, perhaps you might consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the notification. For those who are perhaps new, we're in the middle of a series from Papercraft Society box 59, and this is project number 3. The other 2 are already up on my channel. They'll be just above this one somewhere, and so we're going to get on and do project number 3. I'm actually recording this the evening before because the sun is shining. I've had to pull one of the curtains, but even now I can't really see the screen properly because the sun is strong. It's a beautiful evening, so I'm going to get on with it and we'll get started. So this is Papercraft Society box 59, project number 3. And today we're going to continue working with this stamp here, and we're going to use it. So if you are new to this channel, just to do a recap, this one can be used to make a bear, a hedgehog, a squirrel and a bunny. And I've actually discovered you can use it for something else. If you don't stamp the feet, or just draw around the outline and put in the markers that you want, you could actually make it into a dog. But we won't do that today. That could be a bit confusing. So we're going to use this one. We're going to use all of the features included, and we are going to use the bunny ears, which are, sorry, can't see that, which are over here. And we're going to make a bunny in a sack. So I'll show you what we mean by that. I'm going to come back to this because I want to show you how to use one of these stamps in a slightly unusual way. But if you've watched this channel regularly, you'll know that for me unusual is normal. So we're going to make a 6x4 card. Now all I've done with this one, in the pack you can use any card you've got, but in the pack we had some gorgeous green card, and all I did was I folded it in half and pressed down the score line, and that is my card base. Couldn't get much simpler than that. Now I have used I'll just explain how I've used the embossing folder. We had a bit of a problem with the die cutting machine. Well, actually, it wasn't the die cutting machine. When I was doing a previous project, some weeks ago, we had a power cut, and I was actually in the middle of using my die cutting machine, not to do embossing, but to die cut, and something happened. We had a power cut while I was in the middle of using the machine, and since then it's not worked. So I can't actually use the embossing folder. So if you haven't, I can use the embossing folder, I beg your pardon. I can't use the machine. But one of my very good friends is an electrician who actually works for one of the companies that makes die cutting machines. And he assures me he can get it going again. So it's with him at the moment. So I'm going to show you how I've overcome that problem, but I still want to use this die cutting machine. I've got die cutting machines on the brain. I still want to use this embossing folder. So what I've done, I'll show you how I did it, and I'll show you what I've made with it. I want to make an actual sack. So because I can't use it in a machine, what I did, I've laid this is a piece of, well, you can use vellum or parchment paper. This is actually tracing paper, very inexpensive tracing paper. So I'm going to lay that over there, and what I've done is I use just an ordinary brown pencil. This is just, again, an inexpensive pencil this is actually from a children's set from W.H. Smith's, but you can get them anywhere. And all I've done is I've pressed, not too hard, but fairly firmly. I've held my paper down. You can tape it down if you want to. I didn't feel the need. I did use the entire area of the embossing folder, and I just went over it like that. Now, if you use the other end, the deboss side, this is the emboss side. If you use the deboss side, I use the emboss side, but I'll just quickly flip it round. But if you use this side, you will get a slightly different texture. So I'll just quickly run over it like that, or rub over it like that with my pencil, just to show you the difference. You get a slightly thicker texture, but I used the emboss side. And then what I did, I put some, where's my glue stick? Yeah, I put some glue stick on the back, and I glued it to some of the craft card that was in the pack. So I'll keep my glue stick out because we're going to need that a bit later on. So I'll put the embossing folder to one side. Actually, I'll keep it here for just a second. because I used it, oh, I'll just pop that off camera just for a second. I used it to make this sack, and what I did, I glued that to, I used my glue stick, as I said, to this piece of craft card. And if you get a bit of creasing, this is supposed to be a sack, so if you do get a bit of creasing when you fold it down, then so much the better. When you glue it down, then it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to pop that to one side, and I'm going to bring in my bunny. Now I've stamped and cut out the bunny. I hand cut the bunny out. So a very big thank you to one of our followers, Lynn Harrison. She gave a wonderful, if you look in the comments from yesterday's video, she gave a wonderful comment. Lynn gave a wonderful comment about how you can get over the problem of the dies and the stamps not quite matching. What Lynn suggested we do is we die cut the shape first and then use a stamp positioner to stamp the image on it, which I'd never thought of doing because I've never done it that way. So thank you, that worked a treat. Bless you for that. So I didn't do it quite like that. I did it to practice. I just had a little dry run, but because I wanted this all in one, I didn't do it like that. What I did was I laid the stamp on my paper and drew around it with a pencil because I wanted the ears to be joined. I didn't want to stick them on separately. I wanted them to be joined. So I put them on like that and drew around it, laid them down where I wanted, stamped it and did it that way. And I stamped the ears in brown and the other features in black. So there's very little measurements. The only other measurement, apart from our card base, which is over here, just off camera, of 6x4, you want to make a sack, and when it's folded, you want your sack, and I've lost my measurements, you want your sack to be 6 by 2.5. So if you make, you want it, you would make it 6 by 2.5 inches. I will put all of this in the description box below, and then you will fold it in half to make it 3 by 2.5. So once it's unfolded, it's 6 by 2.5. Fold it to make a 3 by 2.5 sack. Now before you put the thing together, don't do what I almost did. Don't glue it down first. What we need to do, we need to work out where we want Bunny to be. So it's the same craft card that I've used, but it won't matter by the time we finish. I want it to be so that the join is just, I don't want the neck to be right on the sack line, on the open. I want it to pop out just a little bit like that. So, can you see here? It's difficult to see because the sun is blaring through the window. It's very difficult to actually see what I'm doing in the camera. So I'm going to pop it there, grab myself a pencil, that'll do. And I'm just going to put, no, you're not going to see this mark. By the time we finish, you're not going to see these marks. I'm just using a brown pencil because it's what I've got to hand. It's the one I was showing you how I did the sacking effect. It's just so that we can get a sense of where we want to put our adhesive. So I'm just going to put a little bit round there. That'll give us an idea of where we want the adhesive to be. So I am going to use my red runner tape. This you can use glue, but I want this to dry instantly. So all I'm actually going to do is put some red runner tape, not red liner tape. You could use red liner tape if you wanted to. And I'm going to stick that there. And that, if you draw around it, the other thing about that is you could use an ordinary pencil if you want to, of course. It will give you a good guide, and you can, I haven't measured this, and as you can see it's not dead centre, but it doesn't matter. So then what we're going to do, I'm still going to, oh, sorry about that. I just knocked my camera, sorry about that. Run some tape, don't need to put it at the top, but run some tape. You don't have to do it down both sides, but you can if you want to. Down here like that. So we're just going to run the tape down the sides, but not across the top here. That won't be necessary because we want the sack to look like it's open at the top. And then fold it up and give it a good press. So I got some on my board, so if you do that with runner tape, just rub it with your finger and it'll come off. So now we have a bunny. Oh, let's just bring that down a bit. Now we have a bunny, but we're not finished with the bunny yet because I want to show you another trick. I'm going to pop that to one side. I've actually made some paws to go, oops, sorry. I've actually made some paws to go over the front so that he looks like he's got his paws over the sack. Now, we don't have any paws for the bunny on the set, on the stamp set. But what we can do, I've already made mine, but I'm going to show you how I made them. So I'm going to leave that there. And what we need, if I can find it. Oh, I can't, that's why I can't find it. I've thrown it away. That was clever, wasn't it? What we actually need is a piece of craft card. And the scrap of craft card, which I thought I'd kept back, I'd actually thrown in the bin, which was clever of me, wasn't it? So you need a scrap of your craft card. You also need to bring your stamp set back, but we're not actually going to stamp with it. I know, why would you use a stamp set and not stamp with it? What we're going to do, we're going to find ourselves a pencil. We're going to use the rounded end of the bunny's ears. I know that sounds a bit weird, but that's me, I am weird. I don't do anything conventionally, so I'm going to try and do it so that you can see what I'm doing. So what I've done is I've laid my stamp. I know it's difficult to see, but I've laid my stamp. Now, if I bring that in a bit, will it make it? Oh, that'll make it easier to see. Let's pull that in a bit so that you can see what I'm doing. And then we'll zoom out again. So I've pulled it in, and what we're going to do, about halfway down, we're going to draw around just the rounded end, the broad end if you like that. I'll put that, don't do it as hard as I am, I'm just doing it harsh just so that you can see. Like that, can you see that? Yep, good. And I did exactly the same. Obviously we need two, because they've got two front paws. And again, I just drew around the outer line like that. I'll just move that away. And I'll emphasize it with a harsher pencil line or a harder pencil line. Pop that out the way. And then what I did, you can use a pen if you want to. I took my brown pencil and I just made two little marks for where the paws are. And then we'd have a line there like that. And I just cut them out individually with a small pair of scissors. And when you've cut them out, I'll bring my little bunny back. Oh, oops, stuck to the board. Right, hang on a minute, let's zoom out. So I'll zoom out just a bit, like that. So when you've got them all cut out, they look like that. And again, I'm going to use my red runner tape. And I'm going to put some, actually you could put it actually on there if you wish. And I'm going to stick one there, so it's going to line up with the edge, the top edge of our sack. And I'm going to put the other one about there. I don't want the two paws really close together, so I want that one about there. So if I put that down there, that'll be enough. So we're going to, again, line it up with the edge of the top edge of the sack. And if you've got any left or leftover residue, just hold down the bit that you've just glued on and wipe it. And there you have a bunny with its paws peeping over the top of the sack. Now obviously we need to make this into a card, and that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to bring my card base in, and let's just zoom out just a tiny bit more. That's fine, that's perfect. So we're going to zoom out there so that we can see what we're doing. And again, I'm going to use my red runner tape. We're going to use red runner tape throughout. So I'm just going to run some tape on the back of here and just a bit on Bunny's head, but I'm not going to do the ears just yet. I'll tell you why in just a second, or I'll show you why in just a second. So I'm going to line mine up with the bottom edge. I'm not going to measure it to make sure it's dead centre because that's not really important. But I do want it to run flush with the bottom edge. So I'm not going to use runner tape this time actually. I will in a minute. But for this, I want this ear, this left hand ear, to stick up. I want it to go up straight up. So I'm just going to run some glue, a glue stick, over the back like that. And if you do what I've just done, just again rub it off. But this one, I actually want it to bend down, but I'm not going to use glue for that. I am going to use just a spot of tape, but I'm not done with my glue just yet. So I'm just going to put some tape, oops, I think we're coming to the end of it, on the end like that, and just fold it over. But if it doesn't want to fold over, it's a bit small, so it may not want to do what you want it to. But that's folding over. It could just stay on its own. So there we go, there's one folded. And we do need a sentiment. Now, I wanted a particular sentiment for this one. I wanted a sentiment that said just hopping by to say hi. But I haven't got one. There isn't one in the set, and I haven't got one in any of my other sets. And I've looked. So what I've done, I've just used a green pen, and I've handwritten it, just hopping by to say hi. And I am going to use some glue for that. So let's just pop that there. Grab some, I am going to use a bit of glue stick for that. Make sure you do it on the back. So I'm going to, again, I've written this onto some ordinary tracing paper. I could have printed it, I suppose, but I didn't want to. So I didn't. And do you know what? I think I've put it on the wrong side. Or have I? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I thought I put the glue on the front for one terrible minute. But no, I think we're all right. So because it's so thin, it will curl. So just run that across there like that. It will dry clear. So that glue won't show by the time it's dry. We will try to get the creases out. But if we don't get them all out, so be it. So there's just a little bit on the end. I don't like curly ends. Sometimes they look nice, but in this case, I think we'll try and avoid it. So just pop a little bit more glue. You won't need much because it's only thin paper. And so anywhere you see anywhere you see it lifting, just put a spot of glue and smooth it out with your fingers. And there we go. There is our card for today. That will all, once that glue is dry, you won't see those smears, it'll dry clear. And we've got our bunny with his paw sticking over the end of the sack saying, just hopping by to say hi. And that would be suitable for a child, for a male or a female. So you could use this for anybody you like. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. If you are, thank you very much. And I will see you, hopefully, I will see you in my next video. Now, just so that people have been asking about Graham, which is very kind. So for those who may not know, my husband Graham is in hospital. He went in yesterday, was it? Yes, yesterday morning. And he's doing much better today. I went to see him today. He's doing much better. And I'm hoping he'll be home in a couple of days. So I'm going to try and get these videos done before he comes home. I'm utilising the space. So I will see you hopefully tomorrow in my next video. And until then, I hope you've enjoyed this one. And take care, have fun, and as always, happy crafting. Bye-bye for now.